Horrible. So I I had a show recently with a guy named Dr. Jack Rasmus, and he's been writing about these predictions for what's going to happen, and he's basically been predicting a Trump coup. I kind of wanted, I thought about you guys. I hella wish I could have called y'all when I was doing the show, but he kind of reiterated a lot of the same things, that he felt that. Um, because of the statistic he had was that 22% of the people that vote for Joe Biden actually go to the polling places, and most of the votes are going to be by mail. And it was like 58% of people that vote for Trump are going to show up to the polls. So Trump is going to call the election the first night. Was that was his prediction? Yeah, he had a lot of other things. He actually predicts a military operation in Venezuela. He definitely went there with a lot of his predictions. I think the people are ready for this. This election night's not going to be November 3rd. We know it's going to be like election week, right? Because they're going to have to count all the ballots. Oh, they are. That was actually part of his prediction. He felt the Democrats were gonna try to fight it and hold it up, and it was going to be a bit of an issue. But with the whole ramming through. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I'm streaming on my site now too, since I'm unmuted. I had China. Wait, so which one did he do? Was there blatant racism? What about blatant misogyny? Did he call anybody a broad? Lady? If you use lady, I got that up. Yeah, he brought up Hunter a lot. Did somebody say the troops? No one was called a socialist? Do you think Trump is now scared to say socialism, Marxism? I think Trump is scared to say that. Oh, he said, "Here's the deal." I didn't win. You know, another reason why I think Joe Biden did a good job is because he didn't do that thing that he was doing in the Democratic primary debate where he would just like say his little like 3-second thing and be like, "All right, that's enough time." I'm not talking right now. Can you guys hear me when I'm talking? Okay. I'm gonna take off and answer some questions on my side, and it's only 8 o'clock here on the West Coast. Me, uh, it was good to officially meet you guys in real life. Uh, this Revolution podcast. If you guys are bored, check it out. I have these. I have two of these wonderful people on all the time. Gonna have them on again. Pretty much show regulars. Pretty much show regulars. They made me do it. They made me do it. I do. I do. Did I tell you who I got coming up? I'm interviewing David Griscom from the Michael Brooks Show on Thursday, and I'm interviewing Touré Reed Jr., Adolph Reed's son, who actually wrote the really good book called Towards Freedom, and all the other people that are coming up that maybe you've heard of. And I don't Harvey J.K. I just had Harvey J.K. on, and hey, thank you guys for having me. So, how do I get off? It's like a how do I like a whole person with it. What is nah nah. Hey, real talk, man. I really appreciate you guys, and I love what you guys are doing. That's why I reached out to y'all in the first place. So, have a good night. All right. All right. So it should be just me now. God damn it! I hit leave. So I thought I left. Now everybody should be able to hear me. So what do they think of the Trump v. Biden debate? Um, I was watching the debate with the left flank vets on their Twitch stream, and we were definitely, I wouldn't say going at it, but we had some disagreements with I don't know. I hate to say winning and losing because in situations like this, I don't really think there's like a winner or a loser in a debate like this close to election day. I don't really think that there's a voter on the edge that doesn't know if they're going to go for Biden or Trump in September 29th. And then they're going to see the debate and be like, I'm a Biden guy, or now I'm a Trump guy. If you were a Trump guy, you were a Trump guy beforehand. If you were a Biden guy, you were definitely a Biden guy beforehand. or if you just didn't want Trump, you just didn't care what Biden was going to say. I definitely think Biden did a good job as far as cognitively being there. A lot of this shit that we saw is a dog and pony show. Let's just be honest of what this is. This is ratings. Donald Trump is a ratings phenomenon for the news. I feel very comfortable saying that I believe in my soul that a lot of these news stations love Donald Trump. Even people that do this shit that I do love Donald Trump. So you can't hear me? Hey. So you should be able to hear me. But, Joe Biden isn't going to sway a Trump voter. This wasn't to sway Trump voters. This was more so to energize the people that weren't going to come out in the first place. So the fact that Biden, again, was like cognitively there, he pushed back on Trump a little bit when Trump tried to do his strongman thing. I think to know that Trump was shook is when you see him mention Hunter Biden, and probably 10, 15 minutes into the whole debate, which was a really weird. I think the first question was about like healthcare or something. No, I can't remember what the first question was about, but I know Biden had a really big pivot. But the point is, all Trump had was Hunter Biden, right? Hunter Biden took all this money from Burisma. Ergo, you are in bed with Russia. I don't really believe that there's winners and losers and stuff like these debates. I definitely think that we saw Trump a little more shook because he didn't have a crowd, and he feeds off of a crowd. So the fact that there was no crowd for him to kind of play to, that's why you saw him have these constant hissy fits, right? Every time Biden said something that was factual, Trump just said it was fake. And that's kind of his thing, right? I'm going to hit you with some facts. Here's some statistics. Here's literally things you said. And Trump goes, I didn't say it, fake news. It's harder for him to do when there's no crowd. And you could see the frustration. You could see him kind of even getting red. I'm not feeling Biden's platform. I don't think his platform is going to really bring people out to vote. I think ultimately what's going to bring people out to vote is Trump's hissy fit meltdown. Trump wanted multiple of these debates. That's more meltdowns. It looks like the Biden campaign's strategy is going to be just lay low, stay quiet, and let this fool talk himself into oblivion. Because the more Trump talks, the more dictatorial he sounds. Voting is bad unless you vote for me? Ultimately is what he's saying. Joe Biden and the Obama administration fucked up with swine flu, but the Trump administration handled COVID beautifully because 1 million people should have died and 200,000 died. Therefore, pat on the back? That's insanity. And there's definitely a Trump contingent that we all know that's going to hear him say that shit, and they're not going to care. They're not going to hear the dictatorial remarks because their thing is they hate the cultural/coastal elites that they believe live in the Democratic Party. They believe that Obama embodies. And as we were talking about on the stream with the Left Flank Vets, there is a lot of people that hated that fine in Obamacare, that tax. So Trump kind of campaigning, well, I got rid of that fee, therefore you should love me. And Biden kind of campaigning on, well, I'm not going to do Medicare for all, but I'll give you your little public option. We, the people, still have to push back because we want Medicare for all. We want help in these trying times. We want to be like the rest of the civilized world with socialized medicine. So to watch two dudes fight about kind of nothing, at the end of the day, Trump just being, over the top racist, being asked to denounce the Proud Boys, and really wouldn't do it. They brought up the very fine people comment that I'm sure Trump regrets making because, in all honesty, I don't think he meant it the way that it got spun. I think that's a comment that people that just don't care about a certain class of people say. I've definitely heard rich people say shit like that. And it's not to the point of like, oh, well, I support what these white people are doing. I don't think he knew. He didn't care. We have to remember he doesn't care. This shit is pro wrestling for him. He's the heel in pro wrestling. He's playing a role. He doesn't believe half of what he says because he's just making shit up as it goes along. That's why he has to push back so hard on the shit that he says. Watch that press conference again, the Charlottesville press conference, where he says there was very fine people on both sides. What? You mean the people that was saying Jews will not replace us and killed that woman were very fine? He didn't. He's like, what? But what about the other people? He's just deflecting at that point because he knows he stuck his foot in his mouth. He's a very, very rich man that gives kind of sort of no fucks about anybody, even his own base. And his real fervent base, that diehard base, doesn't care that he doesn't care about them. Because what he allows them to do is to be racist in public again. He gives them their safe space back. In their minds. I also don't think they are the majority. I have a show coming up soon. I have the date on it these are my show notes I'm going through right now. I had another show this morning before I did this. I have another show coming up with Dr. Jack Rasmus, who has a radio show and a really interesting blog where he's been predicting these quote unquote October surprises. And he definitely believes that Trump is going to try to steal the election because the majority of his base is going to go out to actual polling places and show up and vote, opposed to the Biden base that's going to mail in their vote. And he believes that Trump is going to try to call the election. First, they're going to try to ram through this judge, the Superior Court judge, and they're going to try to ram through. They're going to try to call the vote November 3rd, and not wait for all the ballots to get counted. And I think you see Trump getting ready for that, much like he did in 2016 when he thought he was going to lose. Because wasn't this the same rhetoric in 2016? 3 million illegal aliens were voting for him in California, and that's why he's going to lose. And when he won, he was kind of like, oh, shit. You can't fuck up this bad. And let's keep in mind, this man, everything he touches, he kind of fucks it up. This stream is going live with my friends on my personal page. So we're all, not all of us, but a lot of us are the same age. We remember the USF. Donald Trump had his hands in that shit. Bomb. His casino. Bomb. Read Chris Hedges' book, Farewell to America. I mean, the opening chapter takes place in Trump's casino where there's rats all running all over the place and building is literally falling down. His multiple bankruptcies. This presidency has been an epic failure. Joe Biden called him out on it. And wasn't real, people could say what they want about Joe Biden not being tough enough and not telling Trump to do this and go F himself and he should have done. But you know what? He called him, he said, you are the worst president in the history of America. Maybe. I mean, was it Wilson was president during Spanish flu? And we had a few million people die then. I think 50 million total. And that was also one of those suppressed the information situations, but it was a little different. It was wartime. That's why we call it Spanish flu, right? Because Spain was the only country reporting numbers on it. The stock market isn't the economy. And I think we know that. And if we don't know that, we feel that. Like when the market is great, we're all not driving cool cars. According to Donald Trump, the market was flourishing and this economy was balling out of control when he came into office, much better than the Obama administration. All I can say is that the homeless camp across the street from me was blowing up at the end of the Obama administration. And by the time Trump got in office, it's a city. If you listen to the podcast, this is Revolution Podcast. You've heard me say it numerous times. People are literally living in the middle of the street. Literally. It's not an over-exaggeration. People live in the middle of the street. Some Mad Max shit. And that's one example of one city in a very large country of 330 million people. When you hear these job numbers and these employment figures, we have to keep in mind, I think was it 1 hour a week you have to work to be employed? We're not talking about poverty. We're talking about who gets counted in the employment numbers. If you're not working for so many months, you're taken off count. You just don't even exist. And this is before COVID. Trump ran to the left of Hillary Clinton on that fact. And here he is now doing the politician thing. Look at the unemployment numbers. Look at the employment figures. Look how great I'm doing. He did a horrible job. A horrible job. And COVID, again, in my opinion, is his downfall. I can't even say horrible. I can't think of an adjective at the moment to really explain how I feel and how badly that whole thing was handled. Shameless plug. This is a great book, Corona, Climate, and Chronic Emergency. War, Communism in the 21st Century by Andreas Malm. Really, really good book. I actually hit him up to be on the show, and I got a reply back that he is on a family leave. So we'll see what happens. But really good book if you want a breakdown of A, where coronaviruses come from, B, what's lacking in public health to research those things, and C, capitalism's effect on the environment, our lack of handling it, and why these things will continue to happen if we don't do more. So, really good book. It's out on Verso Books. I suggest get it. Today is Tuesday. I have a new show dropping tomorrow. Podcast